Wait, звука не надо. Hello, my friends, this is Yelena Brezhneva with you, and we have a very special guest today. I am so happy to introduce my dear friend and a great professional, Vlad Lapochkin. He is specializing in IRS representation, small business tax solution, and tax controversy. He's advising new and existing business owners on tax efficient business development and compliance. So my friends, I am going to transfer my camera and we all can welcome Vlad. Hi Vlad, you're on air right now. Say hello.
Hi Elena, thank you for having me here today.
So I understand we're going to have a very interesting topic. So we're talking about what every independent contractor needs to know with all this global pandemic around affecting businesses, affecting business owners. So we are so happy to have you today. So hopefully you will be, sharing some light and clarity to all independent contractors one more time.
Thank you. Yes, it's indeed a very interesting and very important topic for conversation today because independent contractors have been affected probably the most by this pandemic because their business operations have been interrupted by quarantine and the government regulations. With that said, the government stepped in and provided some financial relief to independent contractors. Most recently, some of the money already been hit in the bank accounts, so I'd be happy to discuss and shine some light on these programs. Shall we start?
Yes, sir. All right. So we'll have the slide is up right now.
All right. Looks like we're going to start with a paycheck protection program. Originally, it was designed for the entities to keep their employees on the payroll, but the government expanded that to independent contractors. If you are a sole proprietor, independent contractor, or let's say single member LLC, this program applies to you. And the way it works, you will submit your net income for the prior year on a Schedule C, if you're Schedule C filer. And the amount of the paycheck program will be calculated based on a net self-employment income. If you have employees, their payroll also will be added to that pool. And the way it works, they will divide your annual income and an annual payroll by 12 and multiply it by 2.5. And that would be the amount of loan or grant that will be distributed to you, hopefully. The most important part of this program is forgivable, in part or as whole. There is a whole set of rules that have been attached to this program that makes it, to a large extent, as free money. However, free money doesn't mean you're going to go and spend it however you see fit. It still has to be spent on payroll, on paying your rent for the business debt, business utilities, and such. To my best knowledge, the money already been trickling down starting the last couple of weeks to the business owners, to the independent contractors. In the very beginning, when they introduced this program, it took very, very slow start. But most recently, I have a rate of success with this program when people apply, let's say on Monday, and the money hit in the bank accounts on Thursday, which is very, very fast if you think about it. Now, this program is not the only program that has been designed to keep people employed, keep people afloat, let's say. There's also payroll tax credits that are available if you have employees, and it's very important to coordinate those two. I'm sure your tax professional, your accountant who you're working with will be happy to explain to you the difference. For working capital, the government introduced another program they call Economic Injury Disaster Loan. And this is a loan that came with the grant. And initially, the government announced that you can get an advance before you even get approved for the loan up to $10,000. Soon enough, they limited it up to $1,000 per individual or per employee up to $10,000. And that was what some people call the free money. It's not really a free money. It could become free money if you don't qualify for the loan, but otherwise it truly is a loan, which is still a good deal because you get financing for your business at 3.75%. And you don't have to provide any personal guarantee up to first 200,000, which is unheard of for the business for that matter. Those grants up to $10,000 have been distributed already to independent contractors. However, the loans themselves have not been provided to the applicants as of yet. And then, of course, there is a pandemic unemployment assistance to independent contractors through the state. If you don't apply for any government financial assistance as a business, you can get unemployment compensation as an independent contractor, which never existed before. That unemployment compensation goes up to $600 per week up to July 31st. And the way it's stated in the law, you can receive that compensation retroactively going as far as January 2020. I'm not sure exactly how technically that is going to work, to be honest with you, but that's what it says in the law. At this point of time, that program is not exactly working. And the reason why, this money being distributed through Nevada Department of Employment and Rehabilitation. And we have about 450,000 claims filed in Nevada. They only had 75 employees to work these cases. And they had to build a system to distribute these funds from the scratch because it's not normal unemployment. The government had to build a whole new portal and a way to distribute this money from the scratch. And that was, and it still remains, a very, very challenging task to receive that money. And for the simple reason, the system was not in place. They're working on it. The governor promised to implement that program starting May 14th. And the Department of Employment urged people not to apply for that program until May 14th, which I see a conflict. And the reason why, because these payments should be retroactive. However, in the press conference, the government mentioned that these claims will be paid from the date the claim is filed. So the way I see it, if you wait until May 14th to file for this claim, you might not get money retroactively. We really, truly don't know how exactly it's going to work at this point, but if that would be me, I will file at least a zero claim right now.
So we have a question. So someone was explaining to me that they went to file for unemployment and the person is independent contractor, LLC-based business, and when they put Social Security in, it says system says you are not eligible. Is it possible? Is there some sort of a program glitch, or is it possible that some people are not qualified, for example, if they would like to apply for this program?
If you're self-employed individual, you are most definitely qualified if you have been affected, if you lost your income, or if your income has been just reduced. However, this system might not be operational as of today. It will be. Eventually it will be, but as far as I can tell, I would file a claim as an individual no matter what, just to coin that date, the date you file the initial claim, even if it's zero.
So I know this system was down yesterday here in Nevada. I checked it myself and it kept saying, system is down for maintenance. So I understand it has something to do with, again, implementation of the new system probably, and they're trying to plug in. What about if people, they're going in and they're having difficulties? Do you think calling the numbers that state advises, is it even working nowadays? Is anybody able to answer phones?
Like I mentioned, the state of Nevada Department of Employment and Rehabilitation, they only had 75 employees to handle 450,000 claims. So obviously the phone lines has been overloaded. They hired more people. They almost tripled their staff to 220, probably more. But what people need to remember, these people still need to learn what to do. And people are on computers. You can't just upload the new information and new update to their heads. It still takes time to train someone to navigate intelligently through the government system. So it's going to take time, unfortunately. Could it be done sooner? Could it be done faster, more efficient? Probably, but we are where we are today, and they're doing their best. What I suggest to people is to try to call North Nevada phone numbers, and the reason why, they all connected to exactly the same system. However, up north, where you're Reno or Carson City, there's far fewer people trying to call those lines.
Oh,
but
this
it
is
has
very
a different
good.
challenge.
So how do we get a hold of this number? Do we just type in Reno's Unemployment Center?
It's on Nevada Department of Rehabilitation and Employment website. They have different set of numbers for different localities. Yes.
That's very good. So another question. So when independent contractor, for example, filing for unemployment, and it's asking you a time frame. So it's asking you, are you still with your company? Are you employed? So obviously, if it's your company, you are still employed. But then there is a question like, what is your status? There's nowhere in that menu. I haven't seen like, do you have a coronavirus? It says like, is your income reduced? Are you making less? So what are people supposed to choose from the drop down mention? Because some of them say, hey, are you like part-time? Are you full-time? Is your income reduced? Or like if there's something happened, and none of it seemed to fit the current situation. So what are they supposed to choose?
I personally never apply for unemployment. I don't do government benefits. I don't have exact specific answer to your question, unfortunately. But I would imagine that once the portal up and operating the way it should, once they do the final update specifically for independent contractors, all these questions is gonna go away.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense, and that's why probably the system was down and they are reloading. Another question. So officially, the stay-home order was in the effect on March, right? So when they ask you when the situation happened, when you're filing, obviously situation happened, before it. I mean, it happened for some of the people, end of February. People were scared. People were not, the business was already, even before they said stay home, people stopped traveling, people were already trying to stay home. So when you're applying, do you use that date when it actually happened, not when the stay-at-home order was called in?
This is a very interesting question as well, because it's remaining to be seen how state of Nevada specifically are going to handle this situation, because the money are federal, but the federal government gave responsibility to distribute these funds to each and every single state. So each and every single state is going to have a different say-so in this situation. The way it's written in the law, these payments could be retroactive as far as middle of January, but you have to prove that your income substantially got reduced because of pandemic.
I see. So we have the PowerPoint, my friends, that Vlad shared with us today. So I have the link. I dropped the link in the links, so for you guys to check it out after the program. So make sure go back, download it, save it. It also has Vlad's information if you would like to recommend Vlad for your friends, or if you have a business and you would like to have a consultation, you have a way to contact him. Personally, I've tried the links from this PowerPoint and it takes you to the government website. And it did say that the funds are no longer available. So what do you think is going to happen in the nearest time? Are they going to refill the funding for that?
Well,
they said as of end of April, there is no more money.
There are two programs available when we're talking about the funds. That is a Paycheck Protection Plan or Economic Injury Disaster Loans. And the government ran out the funds very, very super quick about 2 weeks ago. And then the Congress voted to refund both programs to the tune of almost $400 billion. What is also true that big companies, publicly traded companies, they jumped on the first round of funding and they ate up 2/3 of that funding, or $200 billion.
We have seen it in the media.
Which pretty much put everybody who's independent contractor or small business out of this program, out of this financing. With that said, the government made a statement that if you're a big public trading company who have access to public funding, you should return the money. And what that tells me that almost $200 billion are going to trickle down back in the system. They gave them until May 7th to make that payment. When that money will be returned, I would imagine that they will go back into the program, so they're going to continue processing those applications. So even if today you still haven't applied and you're affected by this whole pandemic situation, I will still try to beam up your application for Paycheck Protection Plan if you qualify. or monitor the SBA website and see if they open up economic injury disaster loan applications. It still could happen. It's still going to go on. The program is out there until June 30th.
I see. That makes sense. Do you have any information on the CARES Act that is coming up?
Which one?
The CARES
Because
Act.
the CARES, it was passed on March 27th, and that's
No, the
part
new
of the
one,
pandemic.
the new portion of it. They said some
Which
kind of
is the new
additional
portion?
distribution by the end of May.
There are so many different propositions and proposals in the Congress, and none of them are being viable at this point of time. The most viable proposition I've seen is cancellation of payroll taxes for employees, which will save them 7.5 on 7.6% of their salaries. But that's probably the most realistic one that's going to be voted on, but nothing else. I've seen different ideas, paying everybody's mortgage, paying everybody $2,000 a month. None of that is going to happen anytime soon, unfortunately.
I see. So I also had some people were mentioning that they didn't get their IRS refunds. Do you think it has something to do with federal money and federal budget being, run out? So do you have any comments on that?
It has nothing to do with the federal budget. There's plenty of money to pay your tax refunds, luckily, at this point. What does happen sometimes is, depends on information provided on your tax return. Sometimes your tax returns have been flagged for review, and that review could take 5 minutes. Unfortunately, IRS is shut down, so there's nobody out there to do any reviews. Only automated collection system department is working right now. So if your tax return been flagged for this quick check, that quick check might as well turn into a month or two.
I see. So yes, we did had some of the people commenting on that they still didn't get their tax refund. I see. So it has nothing to do with the pandemic, except for there is no people to review your case.
That's the only reason, yes. Otherwise, there's plenty of money in the pool.
Do you know if IRS is hiring more people? Are they trying to solve this issue?
To solve this issue particularly, no. The reason why, because IRS is closed. A lot of their employees are working from home remotely, if that is possible at all. But otherwise, they are not hiring right now because their offices are closed.
I see.
You can't even mail anything to IRS. They don't only accept the mail.
Wonderful. Well, Vlad, is there anything else would you like to share and have a closing statement?
Well, I would like to say is, if your business or if your operations are affected by this pandemic, do take a shot at the Paycheck Protection Plan or Economic Disaster Injury Loan. You have to be very careful how you apply. I've seen a lot of people thinking, it takes only 10 minutes, what can possibly go wrong? And they click on the wrong button, and the system is designed like a railway. Once you click the wrong button, it will go the wrong way and will disallow you. It will bump you out of receiving the funds. So it's important you consult with your tax preparer, with your accountant, who's knowledgeable with what is going on, how the system works, so you can get your funds, the much needed funds, to you quickly. Don't give up. There's still going to be plenty of money. This whole CARES Act and government financing, it's a gift that's keep on giving. It's going to go for a while. And for those people who already received the funds, it's not the free cash to go on vacation. These funds come with a lot of strings attached. Be very careful how you spend it, and you need to keep the accurate track of those money, because within 8 weeks, those banks and the government will come after you and ask you to be accountable for how you spend that.
Thank you so much. Well, my friends, that was Vlad Lapochkin. So I hope you found this information useful. And I would be happy to share his information again right here on the screen. So and we will also have the PowerPoint presentation in the chat window for you. And we are looking forward to connect with you in the future. So tune in, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you again soon. Have a nice weekend.